The Bank of England going one step further, introducing a 0.25% rate hike, while the European Central Bank is signaling tapering to begin not until next March. Finally, the Swiss National Bank is sticking to loose monetary policy, keeping interest rates unchanged, -0.75%. Joining us now to discuss is Luzius Meisser, chairman of crypto brokerage Bitcoin Suisse. Welcome, Luzius. Great to see you. All right, so central banks around the world are in a quandary trying to address rising inflation and a global pandemic. Policy tightening seems to have sent the traditional and crypto markets in retreat earlier. What is your outlook?
So inflation is a big topic. Only 1.5%. So that's maybe one of the reasons why the Swiss National Bank doesn't see an urge to do anything, as they are always looking at exchange rates. And the Swiss franc is very strong, so they actually still plan probably to make it a little weaker, so our exports remain competitive. But if you look at Germany, the eurozone, the inflation is now 4.9%. And I've prepared one chart for you. So this is chart number 1, where you can look at the German producer price index. This is even more dramatic. So producer prices always are a little more sensitive to inflation because producers, they adjust prices faster. And what you can see is in Germany, year-on-year inflation at producer prices is 19.2% for November. And this is a historic extreme. So if you flip to the next slide, you will see that this is indeed historic. So this goes back to, on slide number 2, you with the long-term inflation. If you go back to 1977, it was never that high. So here you see 2 lines. One, the red line is Switzerland, where we've never seen more than like 6-7%. This was during the oil crisis on the left side of the chart. And now we are close to 5% producer price inflation. But in Germany, it goes through the roof. You see the blue line, it goes to uncharted territories. It goes upwards towards the 20% we've seen before. And this is something that should frighten the ECB, because it means that, so in the oil shock, what we see at the end of the 70s, so there was a big oil price shock that created temporary inflation, so they said, and then the inflation turned out to be sticky. And the same could happen again, that we have some inflation that the central banks, yes.
What is Switzerland doing right that Germany is doing wrong?
Switzerland has a very sound currency. We don't have countries like Greece in our small territory, so it's and we have big currency reserves. Yes, it's manageable, and it's a very healthy economy. And I think Germany on its own could probably manage well, but Germany is in the eurozone, so they are dragged down by Italy, by Spain, by Greece, by all the countries that are not so fiscally responsible because their economy is not doing that well still. And then you see all the money printing going on, and I'm not sure if there's a way for the ECB to get out of that. And that, of course, is an opportunity for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So one more monetary chart. It's only 3 this time, so it's I don't want to overload you with information. So if you flip to the third slide, you see a comparison between gold, the Swiss franc, and Bitcoin, the market cap of each of them. You see the Swiss franc, is very stable. If you charted the same money supply for the dollar or eurozone, it would go up like crazy during the great financial crisis, and now during the whole stimulus for Corona. And in Switzerland, it's much more stable. And what you also see is how the green line has caught up. So it's when we saw the peak in Bitcoin prices, we saw a flippening between Bitcoin and the Swiss franc. So for first time in history, all the Bitcoins combined were more valuable than all the Swiss francs in circulation when looking at money supply M3. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the top line, you see the total value of all the gold in the world. It's all in Swiss francs here, so for comparison. And it is now in reach. So for a long time, the question was, will Bitcoin ever be as valuable as gold? And now it's only a factor 3 away. And in a few years, we might see Bitcoin overtaking gold. And then the question becomes, is Bitcoin actually better than gold?
Is Bitcoin better than gold? Well, gold right now is a 13 trillion market cap. Bitcoin is about, I want to say, around the 1 to 2 trillion market cap range. So that would make Bitcoin quite valuable. So I wonder, what is the state of crypto in Switzerland right now? And is it crypto friendly and receptive to trading Bitcoin?
Yes. So Switzerland is crypto friendly in some regards. In others, it isn't. So in one way where it isn't is that our regulator is very concerned about our reputation. So they always see reputation risk. So they are very strict. They want to control every risk. So we have very, very tight money laundering rules. And that's why no one is coming anymore to Switzerland for money laundering. You should better do that maybe in the Bahamas, or I don't know. So, but what Switzerland is very attractive for is crypto business in general, because we have a high level of legal certainty, and we have one new law that came into force 1st of August, and is pretty unique in the world. It's a law that I advised the government actually a little in creating that law. I was one of many experts that they consulted, and the law specifies the legal foundations for issuing securities. In most countries, there is a law that says when you issue a share and you print it on a piece of paper, that piece of paper becomes the share or bond or whatever security you're issuing. And then you can easily transfer the share by moving the paper. And that makes it easily transferable. And of course, you can do the same with blockchain technology. And what Switzerland did, they approved the law anonymously. So there was no vote against in the parliament. All said yes, maybe they didn't understand it, but maybe they also saw the opportunity. So what you can now do in Switzerland, you can issue a token. And if you do the right legal formalities, then that token is a security, just like the paper becomes a security if you print the right words on it. And what we did better than all other countries I'm aware of is that you can do that. It's embedded in civil code. It's not in the securities law. It's a civil code. That means between you and I, we could issue a token. We don't need a financial intermediary. We don't need a transfer agent.
Right.
We don't even need a lawyer if we fill in the right forms.
All right. We have to wrap, but Luzius, you have some big news. The founder of Bitcoin Suisse, Nikolajsen, I'm butchering that,
Nikolajsen
has stepped down. Okay.
Yes.
And he's a bit of a larger than life character, and you're going to take his place as president on January 1st. So what direction do you plan to take Bitcoin Suisse, and what opportunities do you see?
So first, I want to emphasize he's staying with us. He's becoming honorary chairman. So that means he is still doing a lot of work. He's very charming, very charismatic, so he can go out to the world and talk about Bitcoin and his visions. But what I like to do, I want to continue to build bridges between the traditional financial world and crypto finance. And that's what Bitcoin Suisse has been doing since it has been created. And this bridge goes two ways. One way is if you are a wealthy individual, if you're Warren Buffett, maybe at some point in time you want to move into crypto, and we help these these wealthy individuals moving into crypto and helping them to do the right thing. And on the other side, we are also helping successful crypto companies to move out of crypto, maybe to pay for salaries or things that where you still need real world money for. So, and I want to continue building these bridges.
So greater institutional adoption.
Yes. And our ambition has been always to cover the retail segment as well, but this is pretty tough to be competitive under the Swiss tight regulation with all the identity verification we have to do. So it's a little easier to be in the more or less institutional and high net worth section.